Good day, good people. My name is Gabo Seguela and I'm an online math tutor here to help young children turn their struggles into their successes. Today we will be talking about percentages. I'll be sharing with you a few easy ways to solve percentages without the use of a calculator. Now, if you've seen a few of my videos, you probably know that I hate teaching shortcut methods. When a child is taught shortcuts and that becomes their primary way of doing mathematics, they are being robbed of the opportunity to understand mathematics and how math works. And then they end up failing, or at least not doing well in math. So I hate shortcuts for that reason. However, if you understand the theory of percentages fully, and you're just someone who wants to learn a few shortcuts just so you can be quicker when solving percentage problems, then this video is perfect for you. But for you to understand this video, you need to understand what percentages are and how division and fractions relate to percentages. If you are someone who does not fully understand the theory of percentages, I suggest you go to the description box below and tap on the link with the title, The Theory of Percentages. Download The Theory of Percentages, which is actually a booklet of mine that I share only with students of mine. Read through all that material and make sure you understand everything in that booklet. Once you've read through it, answer all of the questions. The questions are designed to help you reason on percentages, so make sure you answer all of those questions thoroughly. If you can't answer them, do more research until you are able to come up with an answer that is sensible. Once you've done that, come back to this video and keep watching. Now I'll be showing you the most common percentage problems you will get, and then I'll show you easy ways you can solve those problems without using a calculator. Many times you'll get questions like this. What is 20% of 50? What is 15% of 100? What is 10% of 2000? Whatever the case may be. In this case, you're given a percentage and a number, and you're being asked what the value of that percentage is in relation to the number you were given. Many of these can be solved using mental math. Because when you think about it, 50% of any number is equal to half that number. So if you're asked what 50% of 300 is, you can easily say it's 150 without even doing any calculations. All of it was mental math because you know that the value of 50% is half of whatever number you were given. 25% of any number is equal to a quarter of that number, which is half of half that number. If asked what 25% of 300 is, you can simply say 75, because half of 300 is 150 and half of 150 is 75, thus giving you a quarter of 300. You may be asked what the value of 10% of a number is. 10% is a bit more interesting, but it's also quite simple. All you need to do is take 300, divide it into 10 equal parts. Now the value of each part is 30, thus meaning that 10% of 300 is equal to 30. And based on that principle, you can easily find out what the value of 20% of 300 is, what the value of 30% of 300 would be, mentally with no calculator. What's interesting with percentage problems is that they can be switched around. You may be asked to find the percentage of, let's say, 100 out of 200. Logically, and using the principles that we've just discussed previously, you should be able to come to the conclusion that 100 out of 200 would be equal to 50%, because 100 is half of 200. And if you are asked what the percentage of 50 out of 200 is, you should be able to come to the conclusion, without doing any calculations, that the value would be 25%. Because 50 is a quarter of 200. So you should be able to use those percentage facts to help you solve even these kinds of percentage problems without a calculator. But now let's talk about when the percentage isn't a simple percentage. For example, let's say you have to find 34% of a number or 18% of a number. That's not as simple as 10% or 50% or 25%. So how do you solve those kinds of problems without a calculator? Start off by changing the way the sum looks so that it's easier to solve. For example, as you can see on the screen, this sum looks complicated, therefore you may not know what to do next. You may not know what your next step should be. But if you change the way the sum looked, your next step might be clearer. You can start off by changing the percentage into a fraction. Keep in mind that when a percentage is turned into a fraction, the denominator is always 100. Therefore making 18%, 18 over 100. Please keep in mind, you're not changing the value of the sum. You're not changing anything in the sum. You're just altering it to make it look easier to solve. So the value of the sum itself stays the same. The next thing you'd want to do to make the sum look simpler to solve is by changing the whole number into a fraction as well. A general rule in mathematics is that if you want to change a whole number into a fraction, the denominator must always be 1. As additional research, find out the why behind that rule. Find out the principle behind why the denominator of any whole number is equal to 1. Finding out the principle behind that rule might help you to have a better understanding of fractions in general. Okay, so now you have two fractions in front of you. The last change you want to make is with the of in the sum. Again, another general rule of mathematics is that of always means multiply. In any number sentence that you get, if there's an of in your number sentence, it means you need to change that of into a multiplication sign. Once you've made that change, you now have in front of you a number sentence or a sum that you can work with. All you now need to do is multiply two fractions together. So once you've multiplied those two fractions together and simplified the answer, you would have then solved the problem in an easy and calculator-free manner. And that is it for today. Again, if you want an in-depth explanation on the theory of percentages, please go ahead and download the booklet that I created. It explains the foundational principles of percentages that everyone needs to know in order to do well in percentages. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.